Sunday on Denver 7 News. It's been a highly active weekend for avalanches in our high country, and we get a closer look at current avalanche warnings after things turned deadly in Steamboat.
The indication is that they are, in the long run, completely ineffective, and in the short run, dangerous.
Almost 200 guns are now off metro streets after a gun buyback event, but can it reduce violence in our neighborhoods? And if you're looking for a Sunday fun day, Frozen Dead Guy days aren't over just yet. What unique activities are on deck today? Welcome to Denver 7 News. I'm Jessica Crawford.
And I'm Katie LaSalle. Thank you so much for being with us on this Sunday morning, and happy first day of spring.
So excited, had to bust out the flowers today.
It looks beautiful. So feeling very spring-like this afternoon in terms of our temperatures, but then our next winter storm rolls in, bringing more widespread snow back to the metro area and up into the mountains. This morning, we're waking up to partly to mostly cloudy skies here over the Front Range and Eastern Plains. Downtown Denver at 32 degrees right now, high 30s out at the airport. We're bracing for our next storm system, already making its way into portions of Colorado, starting to pick up a little bit of moisture over the western slope, but it's mainly going to be later on tonight. More widespread snow will form over Colorado's high country. Now, your hourly planner here today, by noon, 58 degrees, daytime highs reaching the low to mid 60s for the metro area, expecting 65 out at the airport, 63 down into Highlands Ranch, low 60s up through Boulder and Erie, and further out to the west, Frisco and Kremling in the low 40s. Now, winds will be very strong over eastern Colorado, especially later on tonight, indicated there by the shades of red, a fire weather warning in effect, and then our winter storm watch with heavier snow expected over southeastern Colorado will go into effect tomorrow. Now, this week has been really active in terms of avalanche danger going to continue as we see more of the snow, more of the melting, and then Christian Lopez is live for us now with our high country that has already seen a lot of avalanche activity this weekend. Christian.
Yeah, Katie, we have, and sadly one incident did turn deadly this weekend in Steamboat. Officials say an avalanche was triggered by two skiers in the backcountry near Fish Creek, and one of the skiers got caught in the avalanche and stopped breathing. Authorities say his companion attempted CPR for nearly an hour before search and rescue crews made it to their location, but the man died on the scene, and crews were able to rescue the other skier. This now marks the 6th avalanche death in Colorado this season so far, and with more snow on the way, if you are hitting the slopes, make sure to check the forecast and be ready with the right equipment. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Good tips there, Christian. Thank you. Well, here is a look at the current active avalanche advisories in our high country from the Colorado Avalanche Information Center. Yellow means a moderate warning, which is active for Steamboat, Vail, Aspen, and more very popular ski areas. Well, in other news, 189 fewer guns are on the streets of Denver and Aurora now. 100 of those include semi-automatic weapons. That's because the Denver Broncos have teamed up with the nonprofit Raw Tools to buy back guns in the metro. The event at Empower Field this weekend was the first in a series of buybacks. Raw Tools will now turn those guns into gardening tools for community gardens. While research on other buyback programs has not found a direct link with reduced violent crime, organizers at this weekend's buyback are hopeful that it can improve safety in Colorado in several ways.
A lot of the buyback reasons are related to the ability or access to safe storage, or they might have kids that are getting older and they feel more uncomfortable with a firearm in their house.
This was the first of an 8-month program with the Broncos and Raw Tools. The next buyback event will be in Aurora on Saturday, April 9th. The event promises anonymity.
And Denver PD is now investigating a shooting off the 1600 block of South Zenobia Street. And that incident sent one man to the hospital this morning. And we want to go deeper now on gun buyback programs and look at whether they're effective at all. We spoke to DU law professor David Kopel last year, and at the time he said study after study has found they just don't work.
The indication is that they're, in the long run, completely ineffective, and in the short run, dangerous. No benefit in terms of crime reduction, homicide reduction.
Still, those in favor of gun buybacks say that even if they collect a few hundred firearms, at least those weapons will have no chance of ending up on the streets. They also say that gun buybacks may prevent some suicides.
Well, the Table Mesa King Soopers will be closed to the public tomorrow night into Tuesday morning. They're honoring the 10 lives lost and all who have been impacted by the shooting that happened there last March. There's also going to be a moment of silence at 2:30 p.m. Tuesday afternoon at all King Soopers and City Market stores as a symbol of remembrance. The store will be reopened Wednesday at 6 a.m.
Teachers in Ukraine are trying to give kids some sense of normalcy as conflict continues to tear across the country. This is video of kids taking art lessons in a bomb shelter in Lviv. One instructor says these kids shouldn't have to live through this sort of trauma.
Well, heavy fighting continuing in different parts of the Ukraine this morning, and there are reports of Russian forces bombing an art school being used as a shelter earlier today.
And here's ABC's Christine Sloan.
The Russian Defense Ministry says their forces fired hypersonic missiles for the first time in this war. Those missiles seen in this video from a February training exercise before the invasion were used in a Friday strike on a Ukrainian armed forces ammunition depot in the southwest of the country. The United Nations reports at least 847 civilians, including 64 children, have been killed since the conflict began. Figures the organization says are an undercount. This Mariupol police officer pleading for the West to intervene, saying children, elderly people are dying. The city is destroyed and is wiped off the face of the earth. The UN also estimates almost 10 million people have either been displaced from their homes or have left the country. Lviv is a hub for many refugees seeking to leave Ukraine. The city has been considered a safe haven, but was the target of a Russian airstrike. ABC's Maggie Rulli is there.
Nearly every conversation we hear walking down the street right now is about that explosion on Friday. Lviv has already welcomed hundreds of thousands of internally displaced people. This city is at capacity right now. And now the big fear is as this war moves further and further west, where are all of these people going to go?
The White House is hoping to fast-track the process for those refugees trying to come to the U.S.
I'll be interested in move to USA because so much opportunities.
Ukrainians already in the U.S. as of March 1st now have protected status, which allows them to stay here legally for 18 months. Christine Sloan, ABC News, New York.
Meanwhile, the mayor of one Polish city is calling for help with the influx of Ukrainian refugees into the country. Well, so far, at least 2 million refugees have entered Poland since the Russian invasion began.
I think we need help now because it's about 2 million refugees in Poland and nearly 3 million and over 3 million in Europe. So that's huge, that's huge crisis. I think it's the worst crisis from the Second World War.
As of this morning, 2 Harvard students created a website matching Ukrainian refugees with host families. If you're interested in signing up, you can head to ukrainetakeshelter.com.
It is 7:08 and coming up, kissing cows or other farm animals for that matter, all for a good cause, where you can go in the metro today to help raise money for the Broken Shovels Farm Sanctuary.
Plus, Frozen Dead Guy days are not over just yet. What you can expect to see or take part in if you make the trek up to Netherlands.